Welcome back. The Ecosystem Week at CcHUB Namibia is a dynamic series of events set to share expertise in innovation and higher education institutions. Its aim is to strengthen the local innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem within the country. We're now joined by CcHUB Managing Partner, Mr. Oluwaseun Adejopo. Good evening and welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here.
A pleasure.
First things first, let's briefly talk about the CcHUB Namibia and, of course, what impact it's had since its inception last year.
Yeah, we've been able to hit the ground running. We started with a lot of initiatives for developers in Namibia through a novel offering of a community event called Dev Junction, where we bring a group of developers together that belongs to our community every week on Thursdays to learn together, but also to be able to connect all the technical skills they have to the local problem solving. We can call it Namibialization of their skills so that they can solve problems for our local ecosystem, but also support the startup ecosystem who are building solutions. But also we've done a lot of work in the creative economy sector. We've been able to create a community of creators and creatives in Namibia. We believe technology can accelerate their work, but also technology can help them reach a wider audience, but also create economic prosperity for the country. And one of the things we've also done is what we're doing this week at the Ecosystem Week in Namibia, where we are deepening our relationships, but also doing a lot of ecosystem reach out to the academia, to the industry, to the government, and to the practical innovation ecosystem as well. Yeah.
Talk to us about what necessitated the Ecosystem Week.
What led to the Ecosystem Week was a discovery of a lot of opportunities for impact to support the innovation ecosystem in Namibia. We've seen a lot of the effort from the government. By the way, Namibia is one of those few countries in Africa where there's open hand to innovation from both the academia and the government. So we saw the opportunity to ride on that openness of the government to, first of all, create partnerships locally that can help us support the innovators in the country, but also to do a lot of insight gathering on how to structure some of our programs and intervention for the ecosystem. We want to be able to tailor-made all the startup support programs that we're bringing. All our higher education institution programs, we want to tailor-made it to the local context. And this week has really helped us to gather some of those insights as well.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
When we speak of an ecosystem, specifically in terms of innovation and higher education, what components would form part of this?
We pride ourselves in socializing the framework called the Triple Helix framework, which is a framework for innovation that looks at the tripartite system of innovation, the government, the academia, and the institutions. The institution is an umbrella term for, all the support, entrepreneurship support organizations, the startup ecosystem itself, the business support organizations, all the people with vested interests in the innovation ecosystem. And the government, of course, that brings the policy and the enabling environment for innovation to thrive. And then when we look at the academia, they are the incubators. They're like the womb where innovation is battered. And when you look at the foundational tenet of universities, they are supposed to be producers of ideologies that industry can uptake. So when we bring these three parts of the helix together, we're able to create a robust ecosystem that is very free and fair to the innovators. And they are also able to navigate the ecosystem without a lot of bureaucratic hurdles that they need to cross. And when these three sectors also speak to one another, we're able to create a free entrance into new market opportunities for the innovators. And then they're able to survive the valley of debt. Because the valley of debt, there's a data that says most companies die in Africa before their second birthday.
Yes. What
is responsible for that is the lack of support that exists within the knowledge economy, which is the university, and the market economy, which is the practical society that is supposed to purchase or access the services and product that the innovators are building. So that valley of debt is where the triple helix exists, where the government, industry, and academia needs to come together to support the innovators to be able to survive that valley of debt.
Yeah. But they say failure is also good. You learn from it.
Yeah, we learn from it, but I know it's very expensive to fail in Africa as well because of limited resources. So the essence of the triple helix is for us to lower the risk of failure, but also it also helps us to maximize the little investment that is coming into innovation.
There are various elements which form part of the week. You led the Human-Centered Design workshop, and its focus was on essential skills. Speak to us on what these methods are and how they can impact innovation.
The Human-Centered Design framework is not a new thing, right? I want to put it that way. But we have been able to take the framework and contextualize it to the needs of the innovators in Africa. We believe that we have the opportunity to use this framework to teach innovators a practical way of thinking about problem solving in the context of their communities. And the framework shows the first stage, which is to discover the problem and the tools you need to discover a problem properly. The second part of that framework is understanding the problem. And we give the innovators the tools to really understand the problem. Because when you miss understanding the problem, you assume the solution that the problem needs. And that is one of the reasons also where a lot of companies fail. Because you can build a solution, first of all, and then you are looking for the problem.
Yes.
Which is supposed to be the other way around.
Right.
And the third stage of this framework is the create phase. When you have discovered the problem, you've understood it, then you're able to create a solution properly. And then the fourth phase is to implement. That is when you're now looking at having your MVP and your product market fit, and then you are ready to launch the product or the service. But on top of that, we were able to show the innovators the three types of problem solvers so that they know the bucket that they belong to. The one type of problem solver is an intuitive problem solver that doesn't have any plan, but is borderline spiritual. They just want to say, from experience, I've solved this problem in the past, I should solve it this time. But in entrepreneurship and innovation, it doesn't work that way.
Right.
The second type of problem solver is a systematic problem solver. This is the kind of problem solver that looks at data, that looks at market research, that looks at verified information before they make their entrepreneurship and innovation decision. And the third type of problem solver is an inconsistent problem solver. These are the kind of problem solvers that don't have any plan. They have plan A, plan B, plan C, plan. So they will try something. If it works, fine. If it doesn't work, they go to the next thing. If it doesn't work, they go to the next one. So they have the kind of patience to go through all kinds of options to solve their problems. When we showed the innovators these three types of problem-solving spectrums, they were able to classify themselves properly, and they saw their strengths and their weaknesses, and they're able to use the discover, understand, create and implement framework to start rethinking what they're building.
Right.
And I think this is the best way to approach problem solving so that people don't just think problem solving is by just assuming the solutions to the problem. You must co-create the solution with the people that needs the solution so that your solution is hitting the nail on the head right from the get-go.
Right. When we look at the landscape of innovation and education in Africa, how are we faring?
I think we are better than what we were yesterday. I think there's, when we look at Africa and the historical journey of our education and innovation, we have evolved very well, and I wouldn't like comparing our innovation ecosystem to the West, because I believe it's been a journey for us. And when we talk about one of the continents with the best fintechs in Africa, in the world, it's Africa. We have a lot of fintechs, and our banking system in some part of Africa is even more robust than that of England, and that speaks to the resilient spirit of innovation in Africa. And one of the best places to solve problems is in Africa. We have a lot that innovators can take the opportunity to solve. So I think our innovation ecosystem is evolving very fast at a geometric level, and we can also see a lot of reimagining of our education system all across Africa. We can see new pedagogic methodology for education and how learners learn. And we have also seen how a lot of even public universities are embracing the new way of learning for young people by taking the product and research approach to understanding and learning, but also embracing frontier technologies like artificial intelligence and blockchain. These are some of the ways that I believe our innovation ecosystem is evolving, starting from the academia. We still have a long way to go, but I think we should appreciate our journey. We have evolved. When you look at a lot of product and services in Africa 10 years ago, I think we've come a long way. We are riding on social capital and technology to solve some of the most wicked problems in Africa.
Yeah.
And I believe with the with some of the efforts like organizations like CcHUB is bringing on board, with other innovation support organizations, I think we're going to leapfrog a lot in the next decade. So I think we should appreciate our journey. We're getting there.
You mentioned in your response that we still have a long way to go. On that statement, what gaps then should we be cognizant of, you know, in the African front and possibly also for Namibia?
Yeah, I think number one is that on the investment side of things, because we work with innovators every day, I believe we have a lot of innovation on the shelf. Without the interest of those who can help innovators push this innovation forward.
Right.
And so that's the first point of call. We need the seed funding culture in Africa. Africa's old monies most time don't understand the language of innovation. And I think some of them are coming on board. I believe some of the biggest seed fundings we need to push innovation forward in Africa, we can get it from the continent. But also, we need to do a lot of work in convincing, but also showing evidence that innovation is the driver of economic development in the society. And number two thing, like you said, is that we still have a lot of work to do in our education. We need to work on education so that it provides lifelong sustainability when it comes to skill spectrums for our students and those that are graduating. And also, we need to work on the mindset of young people to be thinking entrepreneurially. And when you talk about thinking entrepreneurially, it's not about starting a business. But even if you are a 9-to-5 employee of another business, when you think entrepreneurially, you are taking ownership of that business, and you are also looking at how you can contribute to that business in a bigger way. When you contribute your quota in a bigger way to a business, and the business generates more income, makes more impact, you are also fulfilling a purpose of a professional that is relevant in the current age. So I think if we can fix those three things, those are the foundation. We need to put our money where our mouth is, but also we need to think about how to continue to bring about change in our education system to make students think entrepreneurially. I used to make a joke that a lot of undergraduates think like we call it undergraduate. All they are looking forward to is to graduate. So they don't do any other thing than to wait for graduation. Right. When they graduate, they get on the other side of the spectrum and they discover that they're supposed to have been doing some things while they were in school.
Mr. Adepoju, thank you so much for being here with us this evening. It was lovely having you.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
Well, on that note, we're going to take a very brief break. We'll be right back here on the Daily Roundup.